basically any language. Python, Haskell, Scheme, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever. You can document anything. So it's language agnostic, if you will. Basically, what DEXI does is it allows you to write actual human-readable documentation and inject pieces of code into it. It will also, if you're more of a developer, you'll enjoy DEXI. Even if that's your only takeaway from this talk as a developer, is that you can put in live code, you can put little comment delineators which will extract that piece of code, put it into your documentation at the point that you want it, but it can also run that code and take the result of the code that was run and put that in your documentation as well. And you can use live code for that. So you don't have to change your documentation when you change your code unless that's necessary. But you can change your code and it will automatically be changed in the documentation. This is fantastic. And for what I wanted to do, I wanted to document all these components that were designed. Talk about colors, typography, how we used white space, anything you can think about that would help developers to be able to implement a design. So I came up with something that looks kind of like this, and you've got rendered HTML, and here is the CSS, which actually is behind that rendered HTML. So it's not the HTML, it's the CSS. And better documentation than CSS, when it says margin bottom 1em, I can't add anything to that, right? I can't write that in a more human-readable way. So developers understand that. I don't have to do anything except put the CSS right next to it. Okay, so kind of looks like this. And the first time I was experimenting with DEXI, I used iframes. DEXI works with filters, so you can filter HTML through the script which cuts your HTML into sections and takes each of those sections and then puts it in an iframe and then puts it next to the CSS. I didn't like that idea, but there was no other way to do it. And then Anna Nelson, who develops DEXI, brilliant developer, she said, well, why don't you use Phantom.js? And I was like, okay, how do I do that? And she said, with Casper.js. So I don't know, who knows Phantom and Casper.js? Okay, Phantom is WebKit. It's a headless WebKit, so you can script it.